picked herself over and over again after losses and disappointments, and still retaining that inner beauty and glow. She is the living idiom of a woman who sees opportunity in every difficulty. Be amazed of how she made it to the road of success. Let's give a Yusana welcome to Executive Goal Director, Dr. Jet. So, bear with me. I know a little bit nervous. So anyway, last week, this is my son. My 2-year-old son learned to sing a new song. It was Eensy, Weensy, Spider. I'm sure you all know this, especially all the moms in the room. Who are the moms here? Yay, lots of us, okay. So, I'm sure you know this song. It goes like this. The Eensy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Up came the sun and dried up all the rain, so the Eensy spider climbed up the spout again. It sounds better when I'm not the one who's singing it. And it sounds a lot better when my son was singing it, not me. Okay? That afternoon, you know, when a toddler repeats and repeats and repeats, it's usually like the whole day. Diba? Pag gusto nila, kung kailangan sila magsingkanta, maabot na sila sa kaadlaw magsingkanta. After several repeats of the song, I actually realized something. Wapo kabantay. Ano siya? I realized why did Eensy Weensy persisted on climbing up the water spout despite knowing that she's gonna be washed up by the rain. Parang ano lang no? Kabawakan siya. But she climbed up. And I thought that maybe Eensy Weensy saw something beyond the water spout. She had a goal. That's why she persisted. And I noticed that she also had the discipline to do it all over again and again and again. Then I realized Eensy's story is a story about goal, persistence, and discipline. And I thought to myself, wow, that is pretty much like my own journey as well. I would like to share my story to all of you. And I hope that by sharing my story, you will also find your own Eensy Weensy story of goal, persistence, and discipline. Good morning to all of you, most especially to all the mothers in this room. Right. When I was young, I've always wanted to be a doctor. It was my dream. I knew it would be challenging, and I knew it would take me 15 to 20 years of schooling. Nga nakadugay ng doktor. It takes 15 to 20 years. But I had my eyes set on the goal, so I pursued it. And you know, when I was a child, it wasn't very easy to dream. It wasn't very hard to dream because I had very supportive parents, and I kind of lived a comfortable and happy childhood. I lived in a nice house, we had 3 cars, we had house help, I studied in LaSalle. My dad's atop the corporate ladder, my mom's business was booming as well. I mean, you get the picture. It was really an ideal environment to dream. But then, everything changed. This was the first lesson about persistence and discipline. You see, we lost everything. My dad's job, my mom's business, and we had to sell our house, our belongings, our cars, and we had to transfer from our hometown in Iligan to Cebu. Okay. And what was once a nice 4-bedroom house turned into rooms the size of a pantry. And what was once an air-conditioned SUV as my transportation going to school turned to a habal-habal. So if you don't know what a habal-habal looks like, it looks like this. Kasi nakasakay habal-habal. Yay, nagkatata. Okay. So anyway, time, it was hard, it was difficult, and at times painful, and it became challenging for me to continue on with my dream. But I realized early on that in life, it has many rainfalls. You know what? We will always have our share of getting washed out by the rain, just like Weensy. But it is by keeping our eyes on the goal, being persistent, and having the discipline to just keep moving forward, things will turn out right the way we wanted it. Year 2, it's goal, persistence, and discipline. Year 2007, I graduated as Doctor of Medicine, and at around this time, we already had our new house and some properties as well. And year 2012 was the year I graduated as a pediatrician, as the most outstanding resident of our batch, as the department and hospital chief resident, and received an award as an International Scholarship Award and the Young Investigators Award in the International Congress of Pediatrics. You know, I've always said that I am not great, I am no genius as well. It really was just goal, persistence, and discipline that got me there. You know, so I finally became a doctor. I was 30 years old by then. Like I said, it's very Dubai. I was 30 years old, 4 years into marriage, quite excited to start our own little family. So we have a beautiful son at 31 years old. Like any new mother, like any new parent, we had this grand plan. Ganda ng plan namin, grabe. Yan, magiging ganito sa pediatrics, ganyan. So, it was really like a grand plan that we have. But then something happened. And then the grand plan that we had turned into a very urgent plan to save my son. My son had a condition called FPIES, otherwise known as food protein-induced enterocolitis syndrome. It is a severe form of allergy wherein the baby reacts to certain kinds of proteins and will manifest as either pooping of blood, vomiting of blood, chronic vomiting, chronic diarrhea. Sometimes some babies actually lead to shock, and some even lead to death. In my son's case, it was pooping of blood. And in my son's case, unfortunately, he was allergic to practically all types of proteins. In order for him to live, he can only feed with my own breast milk, with me having a very, very restricted diet. The diet consisted of only 6 types of vegetables, day in and out, nothing else. Because the proteins in my diet would go to my breast milk and cause my son to feed. Okay. So, ganyan siya. So, actually, we were in and out of the hospital, and doctors, clinicians, I really couldn't understand what was happening to him anymore. He was pooping blood, dripping blood, 6 to 12 times every single day. And being a mother and seeing that sa iyong anak, sakit, lagi nakasabot. Diba? Nakaiwan ko, doktor, mga takbo, but I couldn't cure my son. You know, and then, you know, my husband and I turned to pray, which was the only thing that I knew how at that moment. Sorry. Woo! And what kept me going was the look in my son's eyes every time he breastfed. He seemed to be telling me, hanging there, Mommy, you will get through this, you will be okay. Sorry. So it was like that. I mean, in front of me, sorry, thank you. In front of me, writing in life and death goal that involved my son, the tiny creature whom I love so much. So I had to persist. I had to stay on despite having no sleep, having almost no food to eat because of all the restrictions, and having to endure seeing my son suffer every single day. After 6 months, after 6 bloody months, my son outgrew FPIES. Wow. Some babies actually last up to 3 years, 1 year. But my son, grabe si Lord, no, out through FY3 plus 6 months. So, it really was gold. I thought about it, but it really was gold. Persistence and discipline and a whole lot of prayers that saved us both. So, and then now, so having been that close to my son, actually fighting for our own dear lives, it changed a lot in me. I realized a lot of things, and I realized one of them, that it is a lot more important to spend more time with my son and my family than all the academic achievements and perhaps even all the money in the world. Because no matter how much money we make, we can never buy more time to spend an extra hour more to spend with our loved ones, and for a dialogue and to do the things that you really love. I realized that life is so much more meaningful and beautiful if you spend with most of it, those who you love, and doing the things that you really love. I mean, life is short. So, my goal now, the million-dollar question in my head was, how can I be with my son and my family while still be able to fulfill the grand plan that we originally had for our family? Being a practicing pediatrician was certainly out of the question at that time because I couldn't take care of my son while going to clinics or going to hospital duties. So I thought I had to look for other ways. One day, my dad gave me this book. It was Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. It talks a lot about time freedom and owning your own time while still being financially capable. So for me, grabbing up a pray, somehow, for me, this was God's answer to all my questions. This led me to USANA. Through my pedia mentor's daughter, she's a mentor Tolentino from 3111, USANA City Director, my upline. I was the one who told Teresa that I would join USANA. So I was actually the one who called her up because I really wanted something that I can spend, an online business that can spend my time with my son. During my first day, I remember the very first question I asked Teresa was, how do I become gold director? First day. How do I earn $1,000 in a week? I don't know, maybe she got excited or she got scared, but she patiently answered me, you would need 5,000 points left and right. Sabi ko, wow! That is so huge, and that was my first day. But I said to myself, big as the goal is, it is no bigger than the grand plan that I had for my family. So despite having no business background at all, not a people person, and scared of public speaking, I knew deep in my heart that I would make it. Because I've always believed that if you truly want something and if your goal is big enough, you can learn anything.
Yes, tama.
So, since Mentor Teresa was based in Manila, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was Yaya Miss, I did most of my trainings at home and online. So I had to do trainings during the middle of the night, and when my son naps in the afternoon, Mentor Teresa would send me online videos, PDF files, PowerPoint presentations, and that was what I studied on. And I thought that I study what I can and whenever I can, and whatever my upline said, even if she was way younger than me, and even if she was a non-doctor, I followed. Because I believe, I felt that it was the only way I could learn, and I had a big goal. Test of persistence, ito na nag-start na. Test of persistence came when some of my colleagues ridiculed me and criticized me and the rest of the doctors in my team, to see right now, and the rest of the doctors in my team. Some of them have stopped talking to me and avoided me also, and some even There are some who posted discouraging posts in social media. Remember Eensy? Like, down, take away, and wash the spider out. It sure felt that way. Sakit, yes. It's sakit, it's very sakit. I felt so down, I felt so low, but I didn't care. So I had to move on. I had to go on. It was hard. When my son was some months old, I brought him to my presentations because I didn't have anyone to leave him with. I brought him to my presentations, and during presentations, I actually had to stop often because he had to breastfeed. And I've always joked about this, but I've always believed that that was probably one of my best closing techniques. And then, the week before my plotted run for gold na, finally mag-gold na ako. I sustained a foot fracture. I fractured myself, and this was the very night that I was fractured. So I thought that, grabe, si Lord, no, butaan pa yun. How will I able to make it now? But I remembered all the lessons that I learned in my past experiences. Na, just keep your eyes on the goal, persist, and create a personal discipline. So even with crutches on, I had to bring sling bag, I had to put my laptop and all the materials. I carried on, I continued on. Day in and out, I presented, I met prospects, I met my team in crutches, and attended conventions in crutches as well. So, after 5 months, I became director. After 6 months, silver director. And after 10 months, gold director. And 18 months, executive gold director. And last March, I received the top 3 annual growth for 2016.
Woo!
I was able to buy my own first car in a year, and my husband's car.
Mom!
And we were also able to buy some properties that we can call our own. I've met some amazing people in my life, in my team. And I'm able also to practice on, to give myself to advocacies that I believe in. Breastfeeding advocacies and women's rights advocacies. But you know what? What truly mattered to me, what really mattered to me was the time I'm able to give to my son and to my family. You know, I did all these while being a stay-at-home mom, a full-time mom, and a wife. I was able to be the pediatrician to the one patient who mattered most, my son.
Wow! Go, Doc!
We were able to travel together, this time for free. Travel to Maldives. I always bring him anywhere, even if the corporate says no. Sorry. So we traveled to Maldives together, to swimming together, and recently to Dubai. And all for free from Sana. You know how much Sana gave my life, gave a path to my purpose, my passions, and the grand plan that I have for my family. It's just unbelievable and very true. How much I am deeply grateful for Sana for what it has given me. A life of purpose, a life of health, and a life of true wealth, which for me means time for family. Sorry. You know, and in hindsight, that was one hell of a journey. And I'm not even life director yet. So I believe that in life, whatever journey that we take, it can be simplified into 3 basic principles. Number 1, begin with a goal that can make a difference in your life. Number 2, persist and stay focused. And number 3, act in it with discipline and keep moving forward. Did you know what happened to Weensy? I'm sure you're not familiar with the second part of the song. This actually ended this one. The song ended with this one. The Eensy spider climbed up without a stop. She spun a silky web right at the very top. She wove and she spun, and when her web was done, the Eensy spider rested in the sun. That was her goal. That's exactly her goal. That's why she persisted. She got her goal after all. Goal, persistence, and discipline. May all of us be diamond directors one day. I am Dr. Jet Bacatas, Dr. turned mom entrepreneur, and that is my story. And thank you all of you.